WWE Day of Reckoning 2 is the follow-up to last year's acclaimed GameCube wrestling game, WWE Day of Reckoning. THQ and developer Yuke's finally turned in a great grappler for the GameCube in last year's title, borrowing numerous mechanics from some of the N64 wrestling games that fans continue to love to this day. Of course, it had a few blemishes too, and that kind of seems to be the focal point of what Day of Reckoning 2 is all about. Many of the problems from the last game have been fixed here, but in some ways, it also seems like this focus on bug fixing has led to a game that isn't really that big of a leap forward. It's got an all-new season mode, 45 different wrestlers, new and old, a deep creator wrestler feature, and plenty of match types, but mostly so did Day of Reckoning. The basic gameplay engine has definitely gotten an upgrade in the sequel. There's a couple of new features present, including this new submissions minigame and a stamina meter. The stamina meter gradually goes down as your wrestler does more strenuous activity throughout the match, and periodic stops to rest as well as rest holds will help you bring it back up. You can do a rest hold by doing pretty much any major submission hold. Essentially, anytime you do a submission, you're kind of now presented with this little menu that lets you choose from 4 options, including a rest hold, a taunt, a drain move, or a pure submission. The kicker is that your opponent gets a menu too, and then they can try to counter by guessing which one you chose. If they guess right, they'll break the hold. If not, well, you know what happens. Basically, the whole thing is sort of like Tecmo Bowl with leg locks. Anyway, both these things are a nice bonus, since the rest of the game engine is pretty well untouched. Some AI tweaks and improvements to the hit detection have been made as well, but the core mechanics are largely the same. Looking at the basic package the Day of Reckoning 2 offers, some might be just a little bit put off by how much it kind of resembles the last game. You get an exhibition mode, a season mode, a creator wrestler, and a shop zone area where you can buy unlockables. Things like the shop zone and the creator wrestler really haven't changed all that much, but the season does feature an all-new storyline. One neat thing about the season mode is that it actually kind of picks up right where the last games left off. You're no longer a green rookie, and now you're pushing for the recently vacated World Heavyweight title on Raw. In the midst of all that, though, the title is mysteriously stolen! From there, the whole thing kind of turns in this big accusatory whodunit mystery where everybody, especially yourself, is a suspect. Believe it or not, it actually isn't a half-bad mystery, but unfortunately it isn't really presented quite as well as it could be, since there's really no voice acting in the game, and you're still restricted to using creative wrestlers in the story. Still, it's like 6 hours long, and it's pretty entertaining throughout. The thing that will likely stand out to most anybody who plays this game is that it just looks remarkably good. Yuke's has finally kind of got the wrestler models looking up to the caliber of the graphical work they've done on the PS2 SmackDown games, and it really shows here. The skin tones, they aren't plasticky anymore, the faces are phenomenal, and everything just animates really smoothly, if not always realistically. This is far and away the best looking wrestler ever put onto the GameCube. If you enjoyed Day of Reckoning, you'll undoubtedly enjoy Day of Reckoning 2, since it takes so much of what made the first game great and simply refines it, fixing little problems here and there, and ultimately coming up with a better product. It also might be a tougher sell for some of the more frugal wrestling fans out there, simply because it is so much like the last game, and another $50 for 6 more hours of story, some bug fixes, and a couple of new gameplay mechanics might be a touch steep. But as far as we're concerned, the overall package is definitely worth it for any GameCube-owning WWE fan.